Tricia, thank you so much. We promised the chat we'd ask about the SAVE Act. The chat really cares about saving the country. So do you. Thank you for arresting or assisting in arresting left-wing agitators and terrorists who terrorized Christians. That's like one of the most refreshing things we've seen in a long time.
It really is. What we saw on Sunday was just despicable. It was criminal. These three ringleaders of these church riots in St. Paul were arrested for conspiracy to undermine and impede others' rights, these worshipers. And I think you're going to see more arrests coming, Benny.
So Homeland Security was involved in some of these arrests. You got some great mugshots here. Really remarkable stuff. You hang it in the Louvre, I mean, frankly. Here's Homeland Security Police right there arresting the individual who, Kelly is his name, right there. Pop it up. Thank you. There you go. Well, you should be very proud of this one, Tricia.
Yeah, I mean, it shows the ICE hysteria. This is all about the left-wing Marxist agenda. This has nothing to do with public safety. I mean, and Benny, it comes back to why are we on the ground in Minneapolis in the first place? And it's the fact that we are arresting murderers, rapists on the ground there that Tim Walz and Jacob Frey have been protecting from justice. I mean, you look at just yesterday, we arrested a murderer who's from Laos, another female second-degree homicide from Laos, an individual from Guatemala who was convicted of sexual conduct against a minor. I mean, these are disgusting individuals who should not be on the streets. And yet Governor Walz and Jacob Frey won't even let us into their jails when our law enforcement is being assaulted and they're being impeded from carrying out their legal duties. They won't even respond to calls for backup. That's a real problem. That's why we keep on calling for cooperation from state and local government. That's why J.D. Vance, the vice president, was there in the first place yesterday. Completely
sickening. Can you give us any update on Don Lemon? We hear that Keith Ellison, as the wife of the judge that wouldn't sign off, worked for Keith Ellison, that Keith Ellison's name keeps coming up as being so deeply involved in so much of the fraud and so much of the obstruction there. We do know that he is committed Marxists. He does promote Antifa. He's one of the most single radical, perhaps, members of the Democrat Party that exists in office today. What will happen with Don Lemon?
Well, Homeland Security is going to enforce the law without fear or favor, whether you be a journalist or self-proclaimed journalist, or you just be another one of those rioters in St. Paul. We will make sure that justice is brought. So I'm not going to get ahead of the Department of Justice, but I know that they're looking at different options here.
Okay. Let's talk about some fake news. Obviously, in my timeline yesterday, they found a new cause celeb, which is that ICE arrested a 5-year-old. That was the headline. Can you debunk that? Is that true, Tricia?
No, and I saw a lot of headlines saying that ICE used this 5-year-old child as bait. ICE arrested and targeted this child, none of which is true. What happened was the father from Ecuador saw ICE approaching him and he fled, abandoning his own child in the cold in Minneapolis. That's when our law enforcement officers stayed with the child, comforted him. And Benny, by the way, as this is all going on, as this child's father has fled from law enforcement, which is a federal crime, there's rioters who are starting to take over and they're scaring the child. Things are spiraling out of control as they're impeding operations. So our law enforcement officers took care of the child, tried to bring them to the mother, which the mother refused to take custody of the child, which is just unbelievable on its face. Our officers, they brought the child McDonald's, played some of his favorite music, kept him warm and when he was with them. And now the child is back with the father and he's at a processing facility down at Dilley.
I do find this repulsive that the left so often uses children as props when it serves their purpose, but you never heard anything about the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of abandoned children at the border. Here's just a photo from 2023 of a bunch of kids that were just dropped off in a raft. And the smugglers went back into Mexico and here's just a boatload of kids. And that's it, you know? No parents, nothing. Here's just a bunch of kids. No leftists cried a single tear about this, Tricia.
No, the humanitarian crisis that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden manufactured. Those precious faces, you won't see them anywhere on CNN, anywhere on MSNBC or NBC, and you should. And the good news is, under President Trump and Secretary Noem, we have found 132,000 children who were lost under the Biden administration's mismanagement. So many of those children have been exploited, trafficked, or otherwise abused, and we will continue until we find every single last one of those children. Benny.
That's wonderful to hear. You did make a ton of news the last time that you were on this program, Tricia. You said that Hilton declined to have ICE members stay at their properties. That Hilton has now been decommissioned, in fact, and had their franchise revoked. Are you finding more of this? We're starting to see little bits of that pop up around. Like, for instance, there was a postal worker that flipped off a member of ICE yesterday. We published that video. We've seen some McDonald's saying they're not going to serve ICE and so on. Are you seeing any more of this sort of corporate sabotage to your operation?
We're certainly seeing discrimination against our law enforcement officers. A lot of this we're saying are rogue employees. We actually saw one of our CBP canine on the feeding chart. It said ICE out. They're targeting a poor dog. So, I mean, we are seeing this on a case-by-case basis, and we make sure that we're in contact with those companies at large, but also those individual franchises as well. And, you know, when we think it's appropriate to make those issues public, when we see that there isn't cooperation or isn't retribution and ramifications for these rogue employees, we make sure that gets taken care of and the public should know about it.
All right. Final question. I know you got to go because you guys are going to be doing now big press conferences every single day on Minnesota. It's awesome. Just really quickly, deportation numbers. Kristi Noem was out with a big, fat number yesterday. It was 2.2 million self-deportations. I think I'm getting that correctly. That's from memory. Can you please project for us, where are we headed this year with deportations, Tricia?
So this year we had 675,000 deportations and then 2.2 million self-deportations, as your memory served you correctly. So that's north of 3.1 million exits from this country. But Benny, what we're seeing we have a 120% increase in our workforce, thanks to that one big beautiful bill really speeding up our recruitment and more ICE officers on the ground. But what we're also seeing is that there's this virtuous cycle. The more arrests we make, the more self-deportations we have, because those illegal aliens in the country are getting the message, hey, if I don't leave now on my own, I will be arrested, I will be deported, and I'll never be allowed to come back to the United States.
It's a wonderful thing. Why are libs like willing to risk their lives for the? I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe in closing, you're a mother, you're a mother, you're somebody who's like educated. Can you please explain this? This is like the final question. Jesse Waters asked me this the other night. I gave the best explanation I could, but like, why is this? Why are they fighting you so hard for like criminal aliens?
I think that there's ICE hysteria going on, and I think that this is just really an excuse to further a leftist agenda that has nothing to do with public safety, it has everything to do with politics, demonizing law enforcement, the Trump administration, and you've seen it time and time again in Minneapolis. There's a reason why CNN, there's a reason why Tim Walz, there's a reason why the Gambit won't talk about these evil people who we've arrested and deported. And so we're trying to get the word out, wow.dhs.gov, go to it, see who we've arrested in your community, where they're from, what crimes they've committed, and get the word out to your neighbors. This is the great work that our federal law enforcement is doing every single day.
Wow.dhs.gov. We're pulling it up right now. We know you got to go, Tricia. We thank you. Actually, we got it right here. Top it up. Yeah. Worst of the worst. There it is. The great Trish McLaughlin. Please follow her. She's the assistant. Her title is so impressive. She's the assistant Homeland Security Secretary and just an incredible spokesperson for a free America, free of crime. Well done. I know you're part of that historically low murder rate in the country. So God bless you, Tricia. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you for having me.